Hey friends, I'm your host, Dr. Elizabeth Smanda, the intuitive psychiatrist, and you're listening to Stepping into Soul Power. So we are continuing down on our series of soul-led leaders, and we've got Joy Lott today, author, coach, guide, like just helping people, helping people help themselves. And we're gonna get into his story, his path. Joy Lott, welcome again to the show.
Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Just to get into it, when you hear the phrase soul led, what does that actually mean to you?
Well, I like that. I think that's a very nice and delightful phrase because I think that to me the the soul is really why we are here. I think that it is the source and the cause and the real purpose of everything. And to my own experiences, to the extent that I'm allowing and aligned with soul, then I experience real, genuine goodness. That doesn't always look the way that I think that it's supposed to look or feel the way that I think it's supposed to feel, but it's very profoundly nourishing and meaningful. And so I really aspire to live a soul-led life. I think that it's the only real meaningful life to live, and any other way is painful.
Wow. So we'll take us back. There's a beginning, a transformation point, and then there's like somehow you got to you right now. And so in that earlier part, prior to that transformation, what were you carrying that was not yours to carry?
A lot of shame, secrecy. Um, yeah, I felt like there was something, and aloneness, I think. So I felt there was something wrong with me, or more generally, there was something wrong. And I assumed that it was something wrong with me. And I had all kinds of stories about what was wrong with me. And I felt so alone. And I was just struggling so much trying to hold it all together, trying to fix things, trying to understand things, trying to protect myself, trying to hide all the things that I thought were wrong and shameful about myself so that somehow I could be a success in the way that the world had defined success for me. And that was just awful. It was just really, really awful.
And so you went through that, and somehow there was a transformation, or there a particular point in time where you were like, enough is enough. And I guess if you could speak to what exactly was that point?
hmm Well, I had been, uh, on the one hand, I'd been pretty successful at hiding and pretending and holding things together. And at least outwardly, I was rewarded for that with money and certain kinds of worldly success. But inwardly, that was just eating away at me. And so I got to a point where when I was 34, I had gone through a series of collapses. So my health had collapsed. Almost all of my relationships had collapsed. I had just had a terrible collapse of almost everything in my life. And then and that was over a series of years. And then when I was 34, I had the collapse had kind of culminated at a point where I was barely able to eat anything. I was barely able to even drink water. I was, I was just, it was a terrible mess. And none of the things that I had previously done trying to manage my life were working for me anymore. So I had been a yoga practitioner and practicing qigong, and I was doing all of these things,
Oh, wow.
meditating. I had done all those things, but when I was 34, everything had gotten to a point where I literally didn't have the energy to do any of those things. I wanted to, I tried, but I couldn't.
Wow.
And I was barely sleeping, but when I would fall asleep, I was thinking, I don't know that I'm going to wake up again, because it really just, my energy level was so low. My ability to function was so low. I really didn't think that I was going to survive. And, um, so it was just because I wasn't able to do anything. I wasn't able to try and game the system anymore. I wasn't able to try and hide. I wasn't able to try and defend or uh, earn success or any of the things that I thought I needed to do or could do. I couldn't do those things. And so that was out of necessity. I had to be profoundly honest and just be totally present to my actual experience, which came down to fear. I mean, it was just fear. It was just very, 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 very afraid. And I had to make peace with that. I had to make peace with the fact that I was afraid and I was powerless, and no amount of knowledge, no amount of power, no amount of anything was going to change that for me. So I had to just completely accept and make peace with that as my reality in that moment. And I would say that that was a really fundamental transformation.
Wow. So it sounds like you were doing a lot of the things that we tell people to do. I mean, if you were at the point where you're doing qigong and you're the actual yoga practitioner, then I mean, that is wow. Wow.
Well,
But
yeah,
go ahead.
there's a difference though in it, tools can be used. It's like a knife can be used for chopping vegetables, or a knife can be used to kill.
Mm,
And so any tool can be used with various intentions. And they're very wonderful tools like yoga and qigong and meditation. But if they're used with the intention of trying to avoid oneself, then the outcome will be pain. And that's what I was doing.
oh, wow. I love that. I love that explanation. Um, as you were going through that, as you were making peace with the fear, what did the transformation process actually feel like from the inside?
Well, I mean, it's still happening now, so I can describe it to you
Oh,
presently.
okay.
Because it hasn't ended.
Oh, geez.
uh,
Oh, geez.
yeah, it's been going on. I mean, this is 13, 14 years down the line. So the internal experience is noticing how noticing the habitual tendency to resist or contract, to basically withdraw or say no,
Mm,
and to choose to be willing to remain open or to open.
mm,
Uh, not, but it doesn't work to try to do it forcefully. And so it's not that I demand that I must be open, because maybe I'm not going to be open. If I'm not going to be open, then that's just what's going to be. And maybe sometimes that happens. In fact, I would say always thus far, there's still some sense of not open, still
mm,
some resistance. And I experience that as painful. I experience resistance and not openness is painful. And so I prefer openness and non-resistance, but it, it's like I think of it like a flower bud that it opens as it does according to its own will. And it
Mm,
can't be I mean, it could be forced, but if it's forced, then that doesn't really work, right? It's not really going to be a flower. It'll just die. And so it, that's my own experience of it, is just trusting in that intelligence. Because that's my experience of it. It's the same intelligence that knows how to open the bud into the flower, is the same
yes.
intelligence that knows how to open within me, and I just have to trust in that.
Oh, that's beautiful. I when I hear that, when I hear your story, the feel I'm getting is the relationship that you have with your body is particularly important, and you're allowing the process to inform.
Yeah, that's probably true. That's a great observation, and I think, unfortunately, I don't know about unfortunate. I sometimes I perceive it as unfortunate, whether it is or not. I think I have had a very Hmm. Abusive relationship with my body. I've demanded a lot of it. Uh, I've gotten angry with it, resentful, hateful even. I blamed my body and, for not performing the way that I want it to perform, for not feeling the way that I want it to feel, for not looking the way that I want it to look, on and on. And so I think that's a great observation that you make, and I think through that lens, I would say it's perhaps this is about learning about what real love is. And that's, I guess I got a long way to go still.
Okay, good. Let's touch on that. What do you think real love is?
So my best answer right now, because I do think about this quite a lot, and I don't know the answer to that, but my best answer presently is that real love is acceptance, total acceptance. It's unconditional. So it makes no demands of anything. It's just a complete allowing and trust.
Yeah, unconditional love. Yes,
Mhm.
yes. And when I think about it, it's so much easier. It's easier said than done to love unconditionally. And you brought
Mhm.
up some really important points because I think that what you describe, having an abusive relationship with your body, being hateful, blaming, like when it's not doing what, like, hey, I told you that you need to lose 5 pounds, or like whatever it is, like, or
Mhm.
your hair, well, my hair. Uh, it is something that's pervasive, yeah, throughout our society, and there are not a lot of messages about total acceptance.
Yeah, I agree. I I yeah, I find that a lot. Yeah, and so much so that that it's almost like for many people, the idea that it's possible to genuinely love all of oneself is like makes no sense to them. It's an alien concept.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like the people who get closest to, like, kids when they're brand new, I see it within them, but as we go through this process of learning to live on this planet, becomes a bit more challenging.
Yeah,
And yeah, and so you've grown in the way that you are in the world, and let me ask you, do you see yourself as a leader? And when did you first see yourself as a leader? How would you describe that process?
Um, I don't see myself as a leader, although I suppose since you pointed out, I'm 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 willing to see it in that way. I can see that maybe in our own ways and in certain times, maybe each of us serves as a leader in some way, and so I can see that. Um, I guess I've associated leadership, and not because this is actually true, but I've associated leadership with abuse of power and power hungriness, which I'm very, I don't, I don't want that for myself, and
Yeah.
so I've maybe rejected the idea of being a leader for that reason. But sometimes we'll use the word guide
Okay.
because I think of guide, and I think it's a similar idea. I think of a guide as serving a function where they know the territory, and so they can guide others through that territory. So that's basically the function that I offer is to to guide in that way, where I invite people to who maybe have noticed that they're experiencing some kind of pain or suffering in their lives, and they're at a point where they're wanting to find a new way to relate to that. And so then what I propose is I think I know a way. And it's ultimately it's a way that you have to find within yourself, but I can guide in a sense of pointing out certain things. And then you can look within yourself. And if you discover that to be true within yourself, then perhaps I can guide to the next point and perhaps to the next point. So that's what I'm offering. And you asked the question, when did I first notice that I was
Yeah.
taking on that role? Is that the question? I guess I've really started to take that on around when I first started offering coaching and sharing this information with people, which was 2013.
Wow, and I wanna ask, how has your relationship with work changed since you stepped into a soul-led life?
um, well, it's definitely changed in a lot of very substantial ways. Well, okay, so it's changed in some ways, and other ways it hasn't changed. I previously worked in web development when I left college and started working in web development as a computer programmer in 1998.
Okay.
And I did that until 2009, 2009, 2010. And so that was all about trying to figure it out, just trying to play the game of
Mm.
society says you got to be somebody, you got to make a name for yourself, you got to get some authority and make money. And so that's what I was doing. And I was really unhappy with that. And so when that changed, and then in 2013, I started offering this coaching service. I really had to, I really had to rethink everything. And so, but that's been a challenging journey to try and figure out how to, because I don't live in a cave and I'm living in this world. I have a family. So
Yes.
money is a thing that I seem to have a need for as far as it goes. And um, so figuring out a way to have money that comes through uh, a different model. And I don't have a good I don't know about a pre-existing model that's off the shelf that I can utilize for that. There might be one, but I haven't found it yet. And so I've been doing a lot of trial and error over the last 13 years, just trying to figure that out. And I haven't figured it out yet. I'm still plugging away at it. But that's, my aim is to, and this has kind of been the next phase of this exploration for me, is maybe inviting other people into that conversation, because I feel like I've been trying to figure that out on my own. I've been trying to figure out what is this model? How do I make this work in a way that's in integrity for me? And I've realized recently, maybe I just need to invite other people into that conversation, because maybe I'm not the only one has this question. Maybe other people also are wanting to know this for themselves. And maybe if we work together collaboratively, maybe we can have greater success with that. So that's been the next thing that I've been contemplating.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Yeah. Yeah, I think it is such a it's a source of contention for a lot of people. And, I mean, I can say for myself too, like, I'm a psychiatrist, but I'm really interested in, different holistic modalities, and so finding a way navigating that path is somewhat challenging, but I like the thought that getting together with creative minds might inspire something, a great
Mhm.
solution can come forth. I wanted to ask too, how has this shift to being soul-led, how has it shifted your closest relationships, your loved ones? How has that changed things?
Uh, boy, yeah, that's a great question. Um, I'm laughing because I think it's definitely changed things, and I don't know. I don't know that those changes. It seems to me that those changes are not always uh, easy for people to understand.
Mhm.
Because so, like with my closest people, my wife, my parents, I would say that they have at times expressed confusion about understanding who am I,
Mm,
what am I wanting in relationship with them, how to relate with me, because I uh, I have low tolerance for doing things in ways that don't work for me, that are not honest.
yeah,
And so a lot of the old pretense just has fallen away. And I think that can be confusing for people.
yeah, yeah. You are, you're keeping it real.
Yeah. Right. I
And
mean,
it's the realness. You're keeping it real with people,
yeah.
which ultimately is good. I was, recently in a talk about, just how we're moving towards having to do that, having to be honest, um, and how it's gonna shift relationships. And then you're ahead of the curve with that
Yeah.
one. Um,
Yeah. Well, I guess if that's true, then everybody be prepared.
uh,
It's not a smooth ride
y
necessarily.
yeah, yeah, it can be tough. Like, sometimes the truth, it can be unsettling. Um,
Hmm.
and so some changes within how you relate in relationships, and I guess I wanna move it towards community. As you've moved towards being soul-led, how has your sense of community changed?
It's changed quite a lot in a similar way to my answer to your previous question. How I previously defined community was like getting together with people who seemed to share similar ideas and who seemed to maybe share similar interests. And uh and that often left me feeling confused and maybe feeling empty and or maybe frustrated. And so how that shifted is I do a lot less socializing in the old way. Um, and I just don't do much chit chat or gossip or any of that kind of thing. And there's a lot more just quiet and allowing. When I say quiet, I don't necessarily. I mean, that's probably the wrong word. Mm, maybe presence is a better word. I'm just more present to whatever is happening, including the discomfort and awkwardness, and allowing for things to take shape. And so, uh, I probably spent a lot of time just feeling awkward, and then an idea will come to me and an action, and I'll take that action. I'll reach out to somebody and see where that goes. And I find that over time seems to be resulting in more of a sense of meaningful connection and more meaningful action. But I don't know much more to say about it other than that because it doesn't really follow any pre-existing model that I'm aware of or familiar with. And
Yes.
it just, the word awkward comes up again. It just feels off and very awkward.
Okay. You know what? I think it's okay for things to unfold the way that they're going to unfold, and you are
Yeah.
in this process of discovery. Um, as we move towards the end, I do want to ask, for we are all on a journey, and for people who are feeling pulled towards a soul-led life but don't know where to start, are afraid of what they might lose or what might happen. What do you want them to know?
Oh, well, uh, I, so I think that a lot of this, uh, there's a certain part of this that I think we have to do alone.
Mm,
Uh, and I don't think anybody can do that part for you, or I don't think anybody can do my part for me or your part for you. And that can be maybe scary and uncomfortable. And while we can't do those parts for one another, there are other things that we can do for one another. We can be here in support and encouragement for one another so that we can know that we're not alone in that sense. And I think that both of these aspects are important. So for the part that you have to do alone, I can't change that for you. But for the part where I can encourage you and support you, if anybody ever wants to have that, you can reach out to me. You can find me at my website at joeylott.com. And if there's resonance there, then reach out and we can see what happens.
oh, Joy Lot, it has been a pleasure to have you on. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
If you haven't heard it yet today, I appreciate you. The soul in me honors the soul in you. If you'd like to see more episodes like this, please subscribe or click here. And friends, if this spoke to you, leave a comment below. We would love to hear from you.